friends, welcome back. Today, let's talk about some common Q&As that I've gotten about my MBA experience. You guys reached out a lot on LinkedIn, and there are a lot of common questions that I thought that I could just make a video about and hopefully address them here, because I used to be able to take a lot more coffee chats, but unfortunately the demand has gotten too much that I don't have time in my schedule. I'm so sorry that I can't do it. I really wish I could, but I just simply can't handle that many coffee chats. And I don't want to selectively pick certain people, so I'm just going to try to use this video to address some of your common questions. And if you have any more, please leave them in the comments so then I can probably do a part 2 or answer them via responding to your comments. Let's get into it. First question, why did you decide to do an MBA? Well, previously, before Booth, I was a CPA accountant. I was working at EY, and I thought that's what I was gonna do, but it wasn't really the ideal career path, you know? So then I decided to pivot, and that's why I came to do my MBA. That's one of the few reasons that people do it, whether to advance their careers, to pivot, or just take a 2-year break, vacation kind of thing, because you're sponsored, and that's okay to do. I did it for pivoting. Before coming in, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I had some sort of an idea of looking into tech, PMM roles, corporate strategy roles. So I was kind of going that focus. So it wasn't too wide of a net, but also enough options to not pigeonhole or limit myself, since we know the market is not that great. Did it work? Yes, it successfully worked. I pivoted into tech. I interned at Adobe this summer. I'm going back full time. There's a day in the life video about Adobe this summer in San Francisco. If you wanna go check it out, it's up here somewhere. For full time, I'll get into the internship and the jobs and careers after, but yes, I did get a full-time offer, moving to New York after graduation. That's the blurb, okay. How's your Booth experience so far, and what do you like about it, and what do you not? If you see my channel, you know I love Booth. 10 out of 10 experience. I would not change it for anything. If you ask different people, people will say different things. I definitely have friends who are like, no, I don't know if I would do it again if I had a choice. I don't know if I would do it if I had the choice to make again. Does that make sense? No. If I had to make the choice again, going back 2 years ago, would I make the same choice to come to Booth or to do an MBA? Maybe not. So it really depends on who you ask, but I absolutely love my experience. Why? First of all, it is a great city. Chicago is so nice. I love the city. It's so pretty. I love the people. The Booth people are genuinely so nice to be around. There are qualms with it. I'm gonna get into it, but generally people are so down to earth. They're very genuine. And you can definitely find your people here. I've made so many close friends that I'm sure that I'm gonna continue to stay in touch with post-graduation. Yeah, you just find a lot of like-minded people. And there's this one thing that I heard from certain people, oh, it's really hard to get to really know people and talk about deep conversations, etc. And that's true for the general population, because when you start your 1Y, you're just networking with everybody in this massive flea market. It's crazy. So you don't really know who your quality friends are. But as the year goes on, spring quarter, you start to really narrow it down. And over the summer is actually a really great testament as to who was going to be my close friends and stuff, because people you stay in touch with over the summer when you're not in the same city, it filters out a lot of people. If you're reaching out, if they're reaching out, it tells you a lot of who's willing to keep up to date in your life, who cares, and that sort of thing, you know? So the summer was very eye-opening. And then coming back into second year, same thing. 1Y me was all over the place. I was going to every single party almost, just doing everything and barely getting enough sleep. 2Y, I'm okay, I have my established friend groups. I am going out of my way sometimes to meet new people because, you're in an MBA, you're not only supposed to know your year, but you have the opportunity to know the year before you, which you do a lot in your 1Y. And as you're in your second year, it's really easy to settle, but I sometimes have to remind myself hey, there's a whole batch of 1Ys that I have not met that are cool people that I should probably go out to meet them. Obviously, it's not the same level of what I did last year, but it's good to remind yourself to do that. So like I said, people. There are downsides to the people is that I hate flakiness. And it's one common theme here because there's so many things to do. People are constantly overcommitted or double booked or triple booked or even quadruple booked. So people flake last minute, and that drives me up a wall because if I commit to something, I generally don't flake. Unless there's like big ass parties of like 100 people and they expect not everybody to show up, then that's a little different. But if it's like small groups and I'm like, why are you flaking, you know? Or even one-on-one hangouts, that drives me crazy, but I'm not gonna get into it. What do you like about it? Okay, so I said the people. I also love the opportunities here. So you guys have seen, I've played running with the Bulls, on the Bulls court, like being a part of basketball club, that is like friggin' crazy. Like childhood me, like teenager me could not have fathomed that I would be playing on a basketball court, MBA basketball court, that's crazy. If you haven't seen that, I'm gonna also link it up here. I got to play on the Chicago Bulls United Center court, and oh my God, in front of the crowd before a Bulls game. Like, that's not an opportunity I'm gonna get on a daily basis or like anywhere. Like, I don't see myself doing that ever again. Another opportunity is Battle the Bands. That's part of Audio Booth as a club, and I've talked about this club before, and I love it because I've never, and I probably never will pursue a music career. It's just for fun and I loved it. I've always done it just like singing in the shower, singing in the car, all that stuff. But being here, I got to be in a band. I'm still in a band. And last year we won Battle of Bands against Kellogg. Like, that is so cool. I get to be in a band. We have horn sections. I get to play with extremely talented musicians. Like their side career is gigging around Chicago. That's crazy. And we get to play like 4 gigs throughout the year, I think, as a booth band person. The last one, the final battle versus Kellogg, is at the Vic Auditorium, which is the auditorium that a bunch of artists go play at. Daniel Seavey, he's touring soon and he's playing at the Vic, and it's crazy because I played on that stage and it's like insane. It's like a 1,500 person capacity, and the sound system is fantastic. I remember doing a sound check, it's just like my mind is blown away. Okay, I'm done hyping up about Audio Booth and Battle of the Bands. Oh, this shirt behind me is from last year's Battle of the Bands, and you see all the signatures from my friends and my bandmates. Yeah, we won last year. We beat Kellogg for the first time in like 5 years. I don't know, it was like so fun. Battle of the Bands documentary is gonna come out sometime this month, maybe next week, I think. And yeah. Anyway, next question. Are there any opportunities you would definitely recommend first years to take advantage of? I don't know. I think this is very subjective. It really depends on what you want to get on an MBA. If it's professional stuff, there are professional resources that you should leverage. If it's hobbies, do what I did. Just go to a bunch of events. I will say, Booth is different. Booth has club funds. I don't think Kellogg has club funds, but it's part of their tuition or something. What I really like though is Booth doesn't limit you in how many clubs you can join. As long as you pay the dues, you can join the clubs. And the good thing about it that I recently learned is that because the clubs are private, they're able to do any events that they want. If they're funded by the government or like public funding, they can't, like by the school, they can't do certain events such as like DEI stuff. Now knowing like the political climate and all that, so you can't do like women in business, like, you know, or like Black History Month, like that sort of thing, like the school will not be able to do under public funding. So staying private, I know a lot of people complain about like, oh my God, why do I have to pay club dues, whatever. But because of that, it allows the clubs to do certain things that are not publicly available. So I think it's really cool that that happens. And as long as you maximize your clubs, the events and all that, because if you're a member, you get subsidized to different events. So you will make your money back basically. But my tip about this is to really think about how much time you have dedicated to clubs. In your first year of your fall quarter, there are a lot of more like free events or like cheaper events, and I would say test them out first before you buy like a 2-year membership, you know? So like last year, I remember I wasn't sure if I wanted to do volleyball or basketball, but I did both for 1 year, and then I dropped volleyball for this year, and then I bought the 1-year membership for basketball again. But if I bought both 2-year memberships, then, you know, I would have been locked in for both and like wasted my money on the second year. So I would say just go to a bunch of club events, the free ones at least for the first quarter, and then decide what club you want, and then commit in the winter quarter and pay your dues for the 2-year thing or whatever, because you will still be saving up money. Okay, The bidding system. A lot of people hate the bidding system. I personally don't have too much qualms with it as long as you have the right strategy. So all I think about is preparation. Like, I've only gotten like screwed over once, which was last quarter, but it's fine. I think the bidding system is fine as long as you understand it, be prepared, have backup plans, etc. There will be an orientation like training thing and like with tips and stuff. That was helpful to watch for me. Regarding the curriculum about flexibility, a lot of people also shit on it, saying like, oh my God, it's not flexible. Like you advertise it as being really flexible, but there's so many requirements. In my head, I was like, yeah, okay, I understand that argument, but at the same time, it's not fully flexible. I feel like as a school, they do need some requirements. But relatively to many other MBA schools, it is more flexible because you don't have to start with the foundations or with the cohort or whatever. You just pick whatever classes you want. So for me, that was a huge pro, because for me wanting to pivot from accounting into like the PMM, tech world and marketing, I got to take a bunch of marketing related classes or strategy related classes in my first year without having to do the foundations of like accounting or like micro or whatever. Like I forgot what the other one, finance, I don't know. So I got to really take those classes, put them on my resume and talk about them in my interviews. And that really helped. So I do think it's a plus. Do I think there are too many flambe requirements? Yes. So what is flambe? It's like functional leadership, management, something business ethics, I don't really know. Like there's 7 courses that you have to meet, 7 out of 8. And that is a lot of classes. Plus the 3 foundations, that's 10 classes out of what? 3 quarters, let's say an average of 3 classes per quarter, 18 classes to 20 to 22 classes in your whole MBA, 10 classes are requirements. So that is a little bit annoying. Worth noting, but still, it's more flexible than a lot of other schools. So how has the MIM/MIF students impacted your experience in terms of course fitting and classroom discussion? I haven't really run into a lot of MIM/MIFs. I don't know if it's like I just don't recognize them because I'm just with my classmates. Also being in the 2Y, I'm guessing there are less MIM/MIFs in the 2Y classes, in the classes that 2Ys take versus 1Ys. I'm not really sure. Don't really interact with a lot of them. Bidding has definitely been affected, but the school system is working on it to fix it. So to find a more equitable situation. Like I said, I'm a graduating student, so I really don't care much. If you ask different people, some people are really mad about it. I am just floating my own boat and just staying in my lane, and it's just like, okay, this is good enough. I just need to graduate, you know, that's all. Yeah, also like this quarter, I don't think I have a lot of MIM/MIFs, so I can't really speak too much about that, except for micro. But micro also has a lot of 1Ys, and that's kind of partially my fault for putting it off till 2Y. Anyway, clubs, Cochair experience. I kind of talked about clubs already. Like there are so many clubs, and if you come to first day or just research about it, there's so many. Each club generally has like an average of 5 co-chairs, 5 to 7 generally, and they run the club. They put up a lot of events. They have all the leeway in creating new traditions, new themes, etc. How to become a co-chair is around this time in your second year, in your first year, second year. Anyway, so like in January, applications will be sent out by the second years. One might as well apply for them. Some clubs will do interviews, some clubs won't. And then you do the transition closer to between like winter and spring quarter to hand over the club. That's pretty much it. So yeah, if you want to be sure that you get a co-chair position for a certain club, be in the good graces of the 2Ys because they really do have a lot of power, like a lot. I guess that's one of the, another con, whichever lens you see it, that I've talked to people is that booth is generally really student run. So if you're the type of person of like, yes, I want to make a change, I want to be in this leadership position, it's great for you because you get a lot of experience of like hands-on experience of negotiating with like faculty, with like events and being in charge of everything. But to some people, they're like, why are we paying the tuition for this? Because like, it's all student run, right? So it really depends on your lens, and I'm like a positive perspective person, so I think I really don't care. You know, I'm here for the vibes, good experiences. Can't complain. Moving on to internships. People have asked me about my internships and like recruiting experience. I recruited tech, so I wasn't stressed in the fall about like IB or whatever. There's another video that I did about recruiting timelines and an MBA. Again, I will link it somewhere up here. But I did tech, and all I did in the fall was just resume drop, because it's just a black box. You just do a bunch of resume drops, cover letters. Coffee chats don't really help, because like, what are you gonna get out of it? Like, maybe you understand the company, but I don't know. How I did was actually pre-MBA, I was already networking with a bunch of people, trying to figure out what I want to do. This was pre-enrolling in Booth. So like, this was a year before that or something. I was just like, I kind of want to think about leaving, but I don't really know what other careers are out there. So I talked to like people in my network and was like, hey, is there anybody you think I could talk to just to figure out like what my next steps could be in terms of my career? So people connected me to certain people, and one of them ended up being in Adobe. And so I talked to her and learned about PMM roles. She connected me to a bunch of Adobe people, and I learned so many more careers there. And full circle moment, coming to Booth, Adobe comes to Booth to recruit on campus, and I was at their event, and I was like, wait, I know somebody. So then I reached out to that person that I already built a connection before and asked if they could do a referral, and I'm pretty sure that's how I got the job. So yeah, referrals really matter in tech, I think. So if you have any established connections, or if you can try to build them before recruiting comes, so you're not just like asking someone for a referral, but actually just like already have a bridge or something to pull already, that would be great. How would you describe your general experience and day-to-day life in a few sentences at Adobe? Okay, I was a PMM, so I was working on the Premiere Pro team, which is really sick because it's a video editing platform, and I make videos. So it's super, super cool to be on the back end now, not just a customer, a user, but someone who gets to design the future of it. It's a lot of meetings, of figuring out the strategies, doing a lot of research, we work a lot cross-functionally with data science teams to gather like survey data, with customer insights team to get more like qualitative data, work with PMs a lot, to figure out what's feasible to build, what should we prioritize. So it's a lot of meetings basically, and then drafting up proposals to present to execs. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of talking, a lot of strategizing. Oh my God, and for the first time, I really used like the 4P and the positioning graphs. I've never done that in my life, but I did it this summer in Adobe, so that was really cool. What were the pros and cons you saw in the job? Adobe is still a big company, you know? So sometimes there's definitely like corporate politics involved. With any firm, honestly, it's gonna be there. The pros, the hours are fantastic. The perks are great. The gym was fantastic, the kitchen was great. They have a music room that I got to play the electric guitar and use it for the first time. It's crazy. They have a loop station too. So the benefits, the perks were fantastic. Cons, like I said, it's just with any big corporation, there are things to navigate. Oh wait, another pro, mobility. I've talked to so many people. People are always so willing to chat, and apparently moving between teams or roles is fairly easy as long as you can justify it, and they encourage people to do so. So it's really cool. Cons, what did I say? Besides that, I don't really know if I had any other cons. I had such a great time this summer, like such a great time, you don't understand. What would the exit opportunities of the PMM roles look like? I have no clue. I really don't. I'm assuming, I don't know. Stay within product, strategy, I don't really know. But I'm sure there are a lot of like transferable skills to a bunch of other roles. Do you feel like you would be limited in marketing roles? I don't think so, because so my role was inbound marketing, so it's not outbound. Outbound works with like campaign development, marketing like materials, etc. Inbound develops like the strategy of, at least at Adobe, of like what to build next. What should we go towards? So if you've seen the recent Adobe Gen AI stuff, Gen Extend for Premiere Pro, that's sort of the projects that we get to work on and talk about. So like we got to prioritize that and be like, okay, next step should be Gen Extend. Now let's talk to the engineers to try to build this out, and the designers. So that was super cool. So I don't think it's very limiting, because there will be a lot of transferable skills. What was the return offer after the internship? I heard, I'm not really sure I understand this question. Like percentage-wise, last year was a better market. There were 12 interns at Adobe or something, and like 9 got return offers. I think this year was more like 60-40 or like 50-50 split, but it really depends on the market. Also, congrats on landing a full-time role. Thank you so much. I think it depends on who you ask, because it really depends on headcount, your luck, everything. If someone has a job, they'll be like, yeah, the market's fine. If someone doesn't have a job, they'll be like, no, it's absolute dog crap, you know? So it really depends. But I do think it's worth considering before you commit to an internship about what company has a higher potential chance of return offers. And you can get that from your previous year data, like it's the second years. So I would say leverage that because every year changes so much. Like this year and last year, it's already different. Do you think it's realistic for those without a tech background? In one of your videos, you mentioned how your video editing background made you stand out more. Would this be an unrealistic path to go down if I did not have this experience? This is a really great question. I definitely think it's possible to pivot into tech without having tech background. They do really like people who have tech backgrounds, and I think I was able to tell a story from my previous experience where when I was working at UI, I was a tech risk consultant, so it is tech. So it wasn't a huge jump from tech risk consulting into tech, so you're able to craft a story that makes sense. Plus the video editing and the MBA degree that opens doors, it kind of lines up. So I don't know if there's a great answer for this question. I think it depends on the role, and if your story can fit and really position you well, go for it. If not, I would say try your best now to get any potential tech adjacent roles. There are classes at Booth, like lab courses where you get to work with tech firms or etc. I would suggest you sign up for those and put that on your resume, and that could be your entry point. You know what I mean? Were there any experiences, classes, or lab courses? Here we go. You just asked this question. I really liked pricing strategies on my resume. I didn't fully pay attention to the class, if I'm being honest. Like, I kind of tuned out. But it was cool as a class to understand that. Competitive strategy was great. I took out with Woolman. Great professor, really great discussions. What else? Oh, there's this lab class that I took. It's called New Products and Services Lab. It is a lot of work, but I got to work with Pepsi and create this whole new product and launch strategy. So we had weekly meetings with people at Pepsi to create certain stuff. I can't talk about it because I signed an NDA, but that was really cool. For someone who wants to go into product, it might be a cool class to take. And I think those are the general questions that people have asked me in terms of Booth and recruiting. So if you have any more questions, again, like I said, drop them in the comments below. If this was helpful for you, give it a like. It really helps the algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. There are more Booth videos coming in general and life videos. I don't know. I'll do whatever because this channel is called Status Quo and I can post whatever I want. Anyway, happy February, everybody. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.